Good evening, Star Wars fans. Welcome to a special GEMPC event. I am, as always, Dan Tartaglione, also known as DTartag1. Tonight we have the second match of our top four in the GEMPC. This one is our number one seed, Matt Harrison-Trainor, versus our number four seed, Jeff Lavigne. Looks like both the players are ready, but before we go ahead and get into that, just as a quick recap, again, this being our top four match, the winner will be going on to face Chris Goglin, our number 7 seed, in the finals. We will also have a second commentary person here soon. Tom Strother will be joining us momentarily. He is currently preoccupied, but once he's here, we'll go ahead and get him in on the call as well. But I did say that the streamers are ready, so let's go ahead and get into GEMP. Let both of them know that we are good to go. And we will have our match. Hey, Tom, give me 1 second to see what's going on with our audio. Okay, select a speaker. I hear you loud and clear. I just have to fix something on our end with the audio in Streamlabs. Give me 1 second. Okay, can the viewers hear Tom? Uh-oh, GEMP just crashed on me. Hopefully it's not my internet. So I am getting signal, but again, GEMP is not working for me. Okay, there we go. Okay, so our players are set. Matt Harrison-Trainor is going to be on light side, meaning that Jeff is going to be on dark side. How are you doing today, Tom?
I'm doing all right. I just got back from helping move an elliptical, and I think it's 104, 105 degrees out, so that was fun. How are you doing, Dan?
I mean, I can't complain too much. I mean, nobody wants to hear me complain, so we got Endor EOPS versus, looks like, Luke Saga. What are your thoughts?
So I looked through the deck list very briefly. My notes for the matchups, for Matt's side, my first note was yikes. I thought it was really interesting because we have MHT, we have Jeff Lavigne. Matt is a two-time winner of the GEMPC, maybe more. My memory is very fuzzy on the first 3 or 4 winners of the GEMPC. And I thought was really interesting is with the matchup is Matt might actually be the underdog, because there are some matchups here and some card choices that will be very challenging for him.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. And I know Matt is, I want to say he's he's the reigning champ for the GEMPC, hence why he is also the number 1 seed. Jeff has won a few majors under his belt as well. So 2 players who I feel like know this, who like are really good. I feel like both of these players going into this will know the matchup. So it's going to come down to who gets what cards and who just makes the right plays at the right time.
Yeah, and just to repeat another note for the format for this year's GEMPC, players are locked into the decks they choose for 3 rounds at a time, is it?
Yes.
So this is one of the rounds where they know each other's deck lists, and they will have had opportunity to look at the deck list and know exactly what they're facing beforehand.
As we see, Jeff comes down with, there's Admiral Ozzel. He's already got the Endor shield out, established secret bases on the table. And I do agree with you. Like, this feels like it is a match that Jeff has an advantage, especially because he has what seems like a better space package right off the bat. So, and that's going to be really beneficial because he could just sit up there in indoor kind of almost unchallenged and drained for two almost all game. But we see that he just draws some cards after putting Ozzel down. Again, I guess I should look at the lists too, being that they're out there.
Yeah,
So
so there are a ton of cards that could come into play. If I remember right, Matt is playing two of the I'm focusing on the name of the card. The new Hujix Polar that can also be played to cancel a force drain with made by Lone Slave One.
I don't like their scum either.
Yeah, and so what you're talking about is that Slave One can be challenging to interact with. Matt could also find himself in a situation where he's playing to leave it alone and cancel the drains. He could also he's playing Tiderium with the My Sister Has It interrupt. So big part of Ender operations is you flip the objective, you turn off the opponent's ability to draw multiple battle destinies. Luke Saga, if Leia's in the battle, reserves the option to play My Sister Has It to just not care, make it so both players can draw as many battle destinies as they want.
And so, being that we know that the both sides of the match at this point, what are your thoughts on? Looks like it's QMC versus Imperial Entanglements. What are your thoughts on that match?
That's going to be really interesting. I can't speak a lot from personal experience. I generally don't favor control decks myself, and control deck versus control deck is one of my least favorite matchups to play. What I know from watching games and from talking with other people and just from general experience unless a dark side control deck is stupidly fast, generally speaking, it's one of its worst matchups is going to be QMC, because if your deck wants to damage race, you're not going to out damage race QMC once it gets going. So that'll be really interesting to see if Matt's able to get enough early pressure to put Jeff in a position where he can't get going. But we'll see. With Matt going light side first, it definitely looks like he wants to know where the bar is, so he knows how risky and how aggressive he needs to be in that particular matchup.
And there we have the Emperor's Shuttle with Emperor Palpatine after Jeff pulls it with ominous rumors. So probably going to see her Admiral Ozzel step out of the bunker and move. Yep, he does move over. Going to shuttle, take off, and then move over to Endor. Now, we know that Matt has Corn Horn in his deck. If you're Matt, do you go Corn Horn straight to the bunker here? Or do you hold off on it? Like, what is your play? Do you risk with Jeff having a 14-card hand?
Usually it's not a good idea to go a spy to the bunker in a light side mains deck unless you're going there to beat somebody down. Because mains versus mains can commonly turn into a situation where you're both playing to beat the other player down. So getting Corn Horn there puts you in a position where you could be giving up your Hujix early. They know each other's lists. Jeff would know that Matt just has the one. So if he does something like that, it could put him in a situation where he gives up the Hujix early on, it gets grabbed, and then he has to play the rest of the game where he could just lose to a beatdown.
And I like what Jeff did going with the Emperor's Shuttle with the Emperor Palpatine over the Slave One at this point, because he knows that Matt is playing two copies of I Don't Like Their Scum either. So you don't want to risk that card coming in and influencing what you're doing up in Endor. So really smart move by Jeff there, as we see Matt play Jedi's Focus after he plays the Do or Do Not shield.
Yeah, the Emperor Shuttle, it's still a little vulnerable to Tiberium,
Mm-hmm.
mainly because Tiberium is going to have more power. And right now, the Emperor Shuttle is only getting 2 battle destiny, potentially 3 if he has command. Um, Tiberium with Han and Leia. And you can also maybe Hera is potentially getting more outpowering. But I believe Jeff's playing 4 copies of the Emperor.
Mm-hmm.
There's pretty much always at least 3. Sometimes there's as many as 5 in these EOPS decks. So even if you're getting outpowered, you can forfeit Emperor and redeploy another one from hand for only 2 force,
Mm-hmm.
and at least block the system, potentially get Slave One out there, and just keep using Emperors to cover, and either tank the Tiberium or start whittling down by outpowering it yourself.
As we see young Skywalker go straight down to the Dark Forest. And there's the Like My Father Before Me to attempt to pull the saber. Yep, there's Luke Saber onto young Skywalker. And yeah, he's Jeff is playing 4 copies of the Emperor Palpatine. He's not going with the Palpatine Galactic Emperor, which is the essentially the budget version of Emperor Palpatine. And I assume that's because that the Emperor Palpatine pulls Force Lightning, which is one card he's going to want to have in this matchup at
Yeah,
some point.
yeah. I think he's playing 3 copies of Force Lightning,
Mm-hmm.
and that um, Force Lightning that was the difference maker in Jeff's matchup against Chris Werfs.
Yeah.
He did a quick spread with Dooku and Grand Admiral Thrawn on the ground. And Chris attacked into the Dooku, and he was able to draw high enough and actually get rid of the
Mm-hmm.
Leia with Saber. And that that's in Matt's deck. He's very limited on answers for Force Lightning against for protecting anybody except Luke and Yoda. For Luke and Yoda,
Mm-hmm.
they'll be protected by My Sister Has It, which can be played to reduce choke destinies and Force Lightning destinies by 1, which is absolutely critical for this matchup because that
Mm-hmm.
is definitely something that Jeff would be looking for if not for that card.
As we do see Matt does play the Battle Plan Shield, and we see that Jeff will pay to drain for 2. Matt losing the Cloud City Lower Corridor and the Rise of Skywalker, 1 from his hand, 1 from his off the top of the deck. Losing the Rise of Skywalker off the top of your deck is quite fortuitous for Matt there.
Paying to drain's interesting. Yeah, he must have just not had the cards to spread out and set up resistance.
Now, is this a deck that you can spread and get resistance going?
Yeah, absolutely. With how Jeff has placed the both of his battleground sites, both the forest sites, with putting them on each side of the pyre. Um, what the main reason to do that is to deny Run Luke Run from with now Luke can't contest the second 2/1 battleground site, and if he wants to, he has to take a turn moving to the pyre, and that's a 1 less turn of paying to drain.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Matt does go. He uses young Skywalker's game once per game to retrieve the Jedi's focus into hand, and then he plays Rebel Leadership V to take Obi-Wan V into hand. As we see him, he also will pay to drain, but this time he's draining for 3, whereas Jeff only is paying draining for 2. As we see the First Strike, Maul Synth Infiltrator, and a Sense all go off the top of the reserve deck.
He might be able to no escape this sense. If not, that's very good for Matt because he's playing 1 sense as well,
Mm-hmm.
and but he pulled the Do or Do Not shield. He being able to play sense himself is is still potentially very helpful, because even if he's peeling to his own shield, if that keeps someone like Princess Leia with armed with Anakin's lightsaber on table, he would take that.
As we see Obi-Wan Kenobi V going down, joining Luke at the Dark Forest. And Matt just goes straight into his draw phase, and he'll just draw some cards after deploying Obi-Wan. And again, looking at some of the lists, I don't see a neighboring leads in Matt's list. Not how you. How do you feel about no neighboring in the list?
I It is really important for this matchup in particular. Um, I really liked what Chris Goblin did, where
Mm-hmm.
he actually played a Luke Saga with Outrun Luke Run, and he played Neighborn instead. And one of the decks you'd expect to see right now is definitely this Endor Operations deck. And
Mm-hmm.
with looking how things are set up right now, especially if Jeff spreads out to the bunker and the force site next to the bunker to get his resistance going, Neighborin would be way more useful than Run Luke Run.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Um,
And again, the winner of this match will go on to face Chris Gogolin in the finals. Again, Chris has played. He played, like you said, a Luke Saga deck as well as a TTO deck. Interesting to see a TTO in this meta at this point into the game.
yeah, it's a it's a really good call into the number of Luke Saga decks that have been popping up.
It feels like Luke Saga has replaced Hitko as the predominant Luke main centric deck in the format right now.
Yeah, absolutely. People love their Lukes and love seeing big numbers drawn for Destiny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. As we see, Jeff did play Force Push on his control phase. He did before he decided to drain. He does not drain, as we see Count Dooku go down to the forest clearing. And with Mara Jade with lightsaber.
Okay.
So he's setting himself up nicely for 2 drains of 2 on his next turn. And Lord Maul with lightsaber. So now he's starting drains of 3 and 2. And more importantly, he will not have to pay for his drains, whereas Matt right now does.
Yeah. And it's a winning damage race. And he could walk someone to the pyre. He doesn't really need to do that. This isn't with the matchup he has for game 2. Uh, there there's much more pressure on Matt to win this matchup,
Mm-hmm.
and win this matchup by a more significant amount than there is on Jeff.
Okay, we see Jeff draw some cards, pass his turn over to Matt. Matt using C3 3PO with his parts showing to start cycling some more cards into his deck. And he does that before he activates. I would assume to see Matt going to drain as this turn as well, just sort of do some more damage to Jeff. Again, really quickly taking a look at our Jeff Lavigne Dark Side deck, just seeing if he's got anything. He does have a comm scan, and doesn't look like Matt is playing Jin Urso or any undercover spies to block that drain. So Matt's going to have to get really creative to do something about that drain of 3 that's going on at the forest clearing here.
Yeah, and that's really hard to fight into, because big disadvantage of Luke Saga is you're really restricted on the high defense value characters that you can
Mm-hmm.
use. And out of all the Jedi that the deck can play, two out of the three, the other being Yoda, two out of the three are already on table.
Mm-hmm.
So if he wants to fight that site, he has to do it with characters that are all extremely vulnerable to Force Lightning Lost, just deleting them.
Mm-hmm.
And Matt, other than a sense, he doesn't have any straight cancelers for Force Lightning.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised to see with this Endor Ops deck being so prevalent as it is, not to see something like a free ride combo in Matt's deck. But
Well, I think Force Lightning is pretty rare now. If I'm not completely out of touch on things, it, it it's a weak card in a lot of matchups. It's pretty weak in QMC. It's pretty weak versus OA. And I think OA in particular is a matchup where EOPS would want all the help it could get.
mm-hmm.
Uh, so it definitely makes sense that that Force Lightning isn't commonly played. Um, and yeah, that would definitely be a reason why we would see so many of these Luke Saga decks, even from world-class players like Matt, that would be light on answers for it. It's just it hasn't been much of a thing as far as I know.
Well, I mean, with a team like Team Five who kind of made this deck popular, you would I feel like being that you look at your bracket and everything, knowing that you have to possibly face Jeff Levine, like I feel like knowing ahead of time to pack something for the Force Lightning would be kind of good. But I do agree with you that like Force Lightning isn't really good against a lot of decks. Unfortunately, this Luke deck is kind of one of them.
Yeah, and it's um, that's not something that's uh, really obvious on paper either. Um,
Mm-hmm.
because on paper you could look at Luke Saga and you can see my sister has it having the -1 to Force Lightning and choke draws. And you look at that and just say, "Oh, wow, like, okay, this deck has. Okay, I'm going to play, you know, three, four, five of this interrupt, and this interrupt
Mm-hmm.
is, um, it's a hard counter to Force Lightning on when targeting Luke, the best character. So you can look at it on paper and see that as something that's very favorable for Luke Saga. But when you play through the games, as you can see here, what happens is a ship can go to the Endor system,
Mm-hmm.
drain until Luke comes out. If you try to drain with someone who isn't Luke, that character's can get beaten down. But if you send Luke out to drain, then the ops player can spread to other locations
Mm-hmm.
and force you to fight with your much weaker characters versus their best characters.
Yeah. As we see, we go into Jeff's turn after we see Matt deploy Anakin Skywalker, Padawan Learner, and Yoda to the Endor docking bay. Matt draining for 3 at the forest clearance. There goes a speak with the Jedi Council, a sorry about the mess, and a Lando Calrissian scoundrel. Chris, you are currently winning, being that you're in the finals. Drains for 2 at Endor. Matt will lose a Jedi Focus and a Luke's lightsaber off the top of the reserve deck. Seeing the sorry about the mess going to loss is kind of bad if you're Matt.
Oh, he does have the Obi-Wan to
True.
get it back.
As the
The,
Emperor takes a Force Lightning into hand. Takes Tarkin's bounty into hand, or plays Tarkin's bounty onto Admiral Ozzel. Doesn't Jeff know that card does not go on Admiral Ozzel? Or it's not supposed to be.
Yeah, that was probably Forlom was probably the bounty pool.
Mm-hmm. As we see, Jeff is playing 2 copies of Forlom with Concussion Rifle V. Both players have their droids that like to cycle on the table.
So I think Jeff he doesn't have to really do anything at this point in time. So getting what Forlom helps with is setting up high destiny draws to prepare for the turn where Matt forces him to do something. And it seems like the 2 ways that could happen. Well, I guess there's really 3 ways that could happen. Matt could he could go to space to start forcing some action there. Matt could move in front of the forest drain. Matt could also spread to the security tower using a spy to force to put himself in a winning damage race position, force Jeff to attack him probably at the security tower.
And it feels like the best scenario for Matt is to try and go to space and just load up as many characters as you can there. Because like you stated earlier, Matt will have the advantage if he gets like Leia with General Han up there. Now, the only downside is Jeff is playing more starships, including the Slave One with Boba, who I believe he has in his hands still since the start of the game.
Yeah. And his with all the emperors, he has really cheap forfeit fodder to cycle through for repeat battles of the system.
And there's an I don't need their scum either to pull the Hujix, Unita, or Scanner text from Matt's deck. Jeff will not draw it, and we do see that Matt is taking the Hujix combo out of his deck. So,
yeah, I'm really curious what Matt does here.
As he starts off using 3PO, puts a card back, takes a card off the top. Jeff doing the same thing. Jeff saving 8 force in his force pile. Now, I think that's more of he drew up the 14 cards and didn't want to draw any more at risk of the defensive shield instead of just saving 8.
Yeah, and he also needs to keep enough cards in life force to be able to, especially if Matt moves guys to block the forest, he ideally wants to deploy as much as he can, have enough destinies for lightsabers, and maybe have force to pay to move and spread out afterwards to really up the pressure.
As we do see a drain of 3 at the Dark Forest. There goes an Imperial Barrier, Black Sun Fleet, and another Count Dooku. Matt draining for 2 at the Endor landing platform. Again, naturally a drain of 1, but the Anakin Saber adds 1. As we see a Lord Maul with lightsaber. And Jeff thinking about what else he wants to lose here.
So Dooku's a huge threat for Anakin right now, because Forlom's putting back cards, and other than sense, Matt has nothing to stop a Force Lightning 7 from deleting Anakin.
And there goes an Emperor Palpatine from hand as well. And, I mean, not only is Anakin a threat, I mean, with the amount of 7s that Jeff is playing in this deck, you got to think even Yoda's a threat to be Force Lightning.
Oh, even Vader could come down and land a choke on Anakin too.
Mm-hmm. I believe
Ooh,
we did see one Vader go lost a couple turns ago. Let me just check that really quick. Yes, there is one Vader in Jeff's lost pile.
okay. There's usually people play two. I don't know if he has. Sometimes there's a Sith Fury. I don't know if Jeff's playing a Sith Fury.
I do know that he is playing two copies of Darth Vader, Dark Lord of the Sith in his deck. I don't remember seeing a Sith Fury. And Sam, yeah, you're 100% correct. For the Force Lightning, you would need a 6 because of the Leia interrupt subtracting 1. Matt deploys Padme, so that's some protection against the Darth Vader, Dark Lord of the Sith for Anakin there.
Force Lightning's still a huge problem. Z, even if he does have sense, sense stops 1, but he has to peel for his own shield, and Jeff can just pass the turn, Force Lightning again on Matt's turn.
Mm-hmm. Well, you almost have to assume like Force Lightning is probably going to be the card that we see Matt grab in this game, and I feel like the Leia interrupt is going to be the card that Jeff is probably going to grab, just
Yeah,
because it does offer some sort of protection for the Force Lightning.
I think you're right because barrier went lost. I don't think Jeff's playing Force Field.
Again, I don't remember seeing it.
And there's definitely no Ellis Hellrot.
No. Uh, and he is only
No.
playing one copy of Command and one copy of Short Range Fighter. Short Range Fighter probably not in play right now, being that the Slave 1 symbol of fear is not on the table just yet.
This is really interesting because man, I feel like Matt needs to do more, but he
I
just
mean,
might not have the cards for it.
now, I mean, the drains are the same. Again, the big difference is right now, Jeff isn't paying to drain. So I feel like Matt is just trying to assemble the pieces in his hand to eventually do something. Unfortunately for Jeff, the biggest thing that I'm noticing is, again, his best. So it feels like to me, Jeff's characters and Matt's character, like the best characters they have, are already on the table. It really comes down to what they can compile of the secondary characters essentially and put those into their hands. Like we haven't seen Leia, we haven't seen Han, we haven't seen Kylo with lightsaber, we haven't seen an Aplak yet. As we do see the drain for 3 at the forest clearing, there goes a My Sister Has It, Young Skywalker, and a Jedi's Focus to the drain. The drain for 2 at Endor.
He leaves 1. This looks like he's gonna go for Force Lightning on Anakin.
So are you going to move Dooku over by himself, or
He's probably gonna reinforce both. He's probably gonna stack up guys on both the forest and the docking bay. Because he still has a shield pull,
mm-hmm.
and he still would benefit from having resistance out.
As we see, Matt loses the Unita V as well as they speak with the Jedi Council to the Endor drain. Jeff goes into his deploy phase, checks and sees what his destiny is. So I don't know if he was it tracking or something, or maybe he just wanted to confirm what it was. Excuse me. Excuse me.
Oh no, we haven't seen any. I don't think any of it's been lost, and none of it's been deployed yet.
And there's a Dr. Evzan and Pondababa going down to the forest clearing as well. And Aplek coming down to the landing platform.
Yeah. So I think Dooku and probably Mara moves over.
And there's the perimeter scan from Matt to make it so that Aplek cannot battle.
He wasn't going to battle anyway, though. Seems like if he won't, wanted to cycle that.
Mm-hmm.
Played for probably aim high. Uh,
Uh,
oh
the
no, I think first strike was top decked.
It was. As we see, there's the Count Dooku moving over. And will anyone
So
join Count and Aplak here?
yep,
There's
there's
our
Force
first.
Lightning.
Yep, Force Lightning on Anakin.
And with him doing it at this partner's turn, this Destiny draw for Force Lightning is going to stay on top of his deck. So once it goes to Jeff's turn, he can either immediately play another Force Lightning, or he can wait and just lose cards from hand of the Force Drain, and still have this high draw
And Matt does grab.
available for another Force Lightning.
Matt does grab the Force Lightning. Action is on Matt at this point still. So, yep, there's the sense. And we know that Jeff's sense is currently in his lost pile. Matt draws a 5, so the Force Lightning is going to be sensed.
And he can OB to get it back to cancel a second one.
Matt will have to lose.
If he he probably has to OB for the sense. The others the other scary card in Matt's lost pile for Jeff is the sorry about the mess.
Yes,
But
and
he
yeah.
but he if he can't stop another Force Lightning, then there's a good chance he loses Anakin and the weapon that he would use with sorry about the mess.
As we see Captain Harrison-Trainor and a Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight go lost to the sense. Sense going lost as well. I mean, he could easily just use.
Huh. I was expecting another EPP to move over.
He could use the Walkling to retrieve the sense at this point, recycle it, activate down
Oh, you're
3PO to
right.
get the
That's a good
sense.
call. The advantage of Obi is he has it immediately to stop another immediate Force Lightning. He could end up doing both. Obi for sense, stop a Force Lightning, Walkling the sense to stop a third one.
Exactly, yeah. Once he recirculates and he activates a force, the Force Lightning is live again. Yeah, correct, Sam.
But if he wants to Obi for the sense, he's got to do it now. Otherwise, he's banking on just no Force Lightning in hand.
And Jeff wisely keeping some force in his force pile at this point to pay for the sense. We do see the resistance to cut that drain at the Dark Force down to 2.
So Matt still he could take the sense now. If he activates, then it goes to Jeff's action, and he could Force Lightning.
And I know that Jeff at one point did have 2 senses in his hand. I don't know if he was cycling them back with Forlom. I'm going to bet he didn't, just because it's going to be a very important card in this matchup.
I'm pretty sure he's only playing one.
Once Force. Oh, I meant Force Lightning.
Oh no! Right. I thought you said sense. Force Lightning. Force Lightning is definitely 3.
Yeah, I got sense on the brain at this point. We've been talking. How many times have we said sense in the last 2 minutes?
I mean, it's the crux of this matchup right here.
Now, both players are essentially shield broken at this point. However, we do know that Matt is playing Perimeter Scan in his deck. Matt activates Jeff.
Doesn't. Okay, so he's really weak to Force Lightning right here. There it goes.
Yep, there's the Force Lightning targeting Anakin again.
He might have. He might have.
Yeah, it's a 7.
He might have Ben Solo in hand.
Ben would be really good. The other thing is, again, if he has Rey, you could retrieve. You could retrieve at least a saber, pull the saber with Rey, and then use Obi-Wan to get the Anakin back, or like you said, Ben Solo. Like he's got so many
Yeah.
ways of getting both Anakin and the saber back. It seems almost kind of unfair.
Yeah. What would be ideal for Matt is Ben in hand. Um, I guess Obi for Saddam, and then delete one of these guys and no Gick. Yeah, this Luke Saga, these Luke Saga decks are really interesting to watch because once you have Obi on table and you have a Jedi's Focus in hand, the the number of ways that you can play a turn is just it's so many.
Mm-hmm. And
It's just
if
it's so many.
and with Ben, who's a Skywalker, he would retrieve off the objective, or I'm sorry, the epic event with getting Anakin back. If he battles again, you're retrieving. So not only does he have a lot of ways of getting stuff back, he's also got a lot of ways of retrieving. And yet, Chris, you played a Luke Saga in the top eight, in the top 8 and 4.
Chris, I got exhausted watching you play this deck.
3 hour match. Oh man, I kind of hope it's not going to happen like that today.
Well, I hope he doesn't forget the timer.
Uh, Jeff right now is sitting at 43 or 34 minutes. Matt's sitting at 23. Matt is a type of a player who does like to be deliberate in his turns, so it kind of makes sense that he wants to take some time on here. Chris
Oh, yeah,
on
there
mute.
we go, Ben Solo.
Yep. Ben, who's going to get the Anakin saber back from the lost pile.
Okay. So Saddam is a huge threat.
Princess Leia coming down, so mother and son, and mother, mother and son, and Han coming down as well. Being that the Force Lightning was already played, I like what Matt is doing here.
He might have the leadership to limit.
So right now he is getting a destiny to he's getting his normal battle destiny. He is getting a destiny to attrition, and I believe he is getting a destiny, or he's getting two destiny because of Princess Leia. So
Here comes the Obi swap.
yep, let's see what is he going to lose and what is he getting.
Oh, Chris has a really good point. That if he preserves the pilots for Tidirium, he can deploy Tidirium to the docking bay, and then put him on board and fly up to get his
Mm-hmm.
free drains going.
And we do see him lose Princess Leia V and Blaster Deflection to get sorry about the mess.
Oh, he's going for it. So he's gonna have to be
Ooh.
Applik, because Applik after the retrieval he's power 11.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say with the retrieval there and no aim high, that kind of hurts because again, you like you just said, he's power 11 with retrieving the Emperor Palpatine. Uh, Matt retrieving with his epic event. He will use one to get Anakin back into the deck.
And he will be able to 3PO Anakin back into hand.
And I forgot that Matt is only at 1 Battle Destiny due to Jeff's objective. So if he does have the leadership, you will want to limit here if you don't hit the Aplak. No, Ben is going to swing at Aplak. Draws a 5, so Aplak's going to be hit. And a 6. Aplak is definitely hit. Again, he is forfeit 0. However, being that Matt has the Sorry About the Mess, he is going to lose a force to make Aplak lost.
Jeff probably has the Gick. If he didn't have a Gick in hand, he probably would have moved Mara over with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jeff currently down by 12. So, I mean, you. There's the My Sister Has It. So that is going to make it so that his battle destinies are not limited. So he is getting 2 destiny there. Not adding
grabbing that makes sticking around in space much more difficult for Matt.
Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to say it now. Graphics team, can we get a new image for Han Solo, the optimistic general? He's a sea slip. It is my mission to abolish all sea slips. Even though it is a good-looking image. Action is back on over to... Looks like it's on Jeff at this moment. Chris, I'm not saying it's not a good image. As we see, there's a dark time for the rebellion to add forward
no Gick. That must mean no Gick.
Yeah, I don't like that there. As we see, Matt draws a 4 for his first destiny. And a 5 for the second destiny, bringing his total up to 28. Jeff draws a 4 for his battle destiny, bringing his total up to 15, so he's going to be down by 13.
5?
So I believe that's going to be...
He goes 5?
Yeah, Dooku in 5. Yoda will go lost. Dooku goes lost. And nope, Jeff has the Gick.
Huh.
Was he just cycling back a 5 at that point?
Yeah, I guess so.
Now again, Matt only has 2 cards in his hand at this point. Currently, Jeff has 17 cards in his life force. Matt has 19. However, Jeff has 8 cards in his hand to Matt's 2. Lost piles are 14 to 20 in favor of Jeff.
And first strike was lost, so he can draw the whole force pile if he wants to.
Mm-hmm. And he does have his Hujiks in his hand as well. Again, Matt thinking about if he wants to draw that 1 card. Nope, Jeff's going to use Sporlom here. And Matt will draw the last card. Again, Matt is going to be taking 5 points of damage this turn with a drain of 3 at the forest clearing and then 2 up in space. Yes, Matt can always do the like my father did before me to put a card back down into his force pile. And he does decide to do that.
I'm pretty sure Jeff lost first strike though.
Yes, yeah, he definitely did. Yeah, it was one of the earliest cards I believe he'd lost.
It was like Sense first strike Black Sun Fleet to the first drain of 3.
As we do pass action back on over to Jeff.
So I think he activated down to the dark time.
Take the dark time again, so that way you can keep getting plus what? Plus 1, 2, 3, 4 in your battles if you need it.
That power bonus is pretty strong right now.
If only deck lists were not published. As we see Jeff drains for 3 at the indoor clearing, or I'm sorry, the indoor forest clearing. Skywalker's perimeter scan and where you looking for me. I'll go up the top of the reserve deck. There's the drain of 2 at indoor. Anakin goes lost. And Rey goes lost. Chris Kelly over here suggesting that players go play different cards than what's on their deck lists. Into Jeff's deploy phase. Now, he did save 4 force. This tells me that he might have like a Kylo Ren with lightsaber. Maybe a Darth Vader Dark Lord of the Sith coming down.
Maybe you'd also leave cards in reserve if you're not deploying anything, just to make sure you have cards left over for draws.
And Chris Gogolin, proving why he's in the finals here, points out that that's all that Jeff can actually activate.
Oh, play too many games of decks activating 20.
Yeah, I mean, let me activate all my force. Blizzard 4 going down to the Dark Forest.
I wonder. Okay, so he must have 4-lommed an Imperial.
Yep, there's a Darth Vader Dark Lord of the Sith onto the Blizzard 4.
Okay. Could be. I don't know.
You got to assume that he's going to attempt to
might be. Oh, that's huge.
No escape to get back, just in case. Yeah, I was going to say at least one of those is a 7, so you would assume that if you don't choke either Luke or Obi, you're at least getting rid of one of them.
This might be Blizzard 4 going to the Pyre and Vader going to Chirpa's Hut.
I like that as well too. I mean, the Gick tells me otherwise though.
Oh, what's really interesting with both of them having non-battleground Cloud City sites is they don't even, if they want to set up a drain at one of those, they don't even need a spy to do it. They can just deploy at theirs and walk over.
And there you go. You called it. Vader going over to Chief Chirpa's Hut. And I mean, even if you leave the Blizzard 4, you're at least blocking the Drain of 3.
Yeah.
But nope, Blizzard 4
What
is going to
Jeff's
walk over.
what Jeff's doing is just giving Matt more to deal with, because whatever he can't deal with is gonna push through enough damage that
Yeah.
allows him to win the game.
And again, Matt is currently down to 14 in his life force. Jeff is sitting at 15. Now, if Matt has Draw Their Fire, which is in his deck, that could be bad for Jeff. Because we do know that he has the Gick in hand.
I think I think he might not. I think it was Chris Gogolin who had Draw Their Fire. I don't think Matt does.
You are correct. So that's Jeff knowing the decks. So we see Matt does drain for 3 at the Dark Forest. After activating all of his force that he could possibly activate.
Doesn't losing Boba is kind of interesting, because even now it's even harder to fight Tydirium if it does come down.
Mm-hmm.
And Boba is still useful on the ground because he also adds the Destiny Wall of Vader.
Losing Slave One, Boba Fett, Comm Scan Detection, all from hand. There goes a Blast Door Controls V and any methods necessary out of the Life Force. But again, at this point, though, if you're Jeff, what characters are left for Matt that you actually fear? Besides Ray.
Yeah, he got Ray with Walkling.
Mm-hmm.
And Matt could. So when Matt was top decking, he could have. I think he could have lost a card from hand and then 3PO'd a card to get the Anakin into hand. Uh, Getting Rey is useful too, but she doesn't get a retrieval for battling.
No, and I think at this point, if you're Matt, you have to do something about the drain up in space. Like, you have Han, you have Leia sitting at the docking bay. You need to get the Tydirian down at some point.
Yeah. If you didn't have Tydirium already, that could definitely be the card he got with a Rey. Two cards Matt would really want right now seems like Run Loop Run and Tydirium. Run Loop Run not so much for a beatdown, but mainly to make it so if he blocks the Vader drain with Obi, if Jeff goes for the beatdown on Obi, then Luke can move over to deny that.
Now, I believe he still. I mean, I don't know if he does still have the Hujiks in his hand because he's been putting cards back. But we did see him earlier in the game grab the Hujiks with his I don't like their scum either.
Oh, he just blocks. Huh.
But again, he's still gonna be taking drains of 3 and 2 this turn.
And Kylo's still in play. Kylo coming down and hitting Rey would be problematic. Because he'd have to burn the Hujiks if he still has it in hand, and he's peeling another force to Kylo's saber.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you still have 3PO there for some forfeit value, but yeah, I do agree. It would be really problematic to have the Kylo come down.
And I don't know if he plays P59. P59 also be terrible right now.
Oh yeah, you just target 3PO with the P59, cause 2 points of damage.
And he might, with Forlom going, he might have the Destiny draw high enough. Oh no, he probably he can set up his Destiny so where he can hit 3PO and draw a Destiny higher than 3PO's forfeit to make him lose Ray also.
So we haven't seen from Jeff P59, Kylo, Tarkin, Grand Admiral Thrawn V. Outside of that, we've seen the majority of his characters. I know for Matt we haven't seen a second Lando Calrissian scoundrel. Um, I really can't think of anybody else that would be in Matt's deck at this point.
Well, there's so
Or Cornhorn is the only other one that I can think of.
Matt most likely has Hoojix and Run Loop Run in his hand, or he might have 3PO'd Hoojix, and then he might have Run Loop Run and Tiberium. But I'd be betting on Hoojix and Run Loop Run. But I think even if Jeff, he only leaves the one Battle Destiny.
I mean, he could easily just be trying to battle and choke Obi-Wan.
Oh.
As Leia will block the drain at the forest clearing.
Okay, so one of these cards has to be Hoojix.
Yeah, has to be Hoojix. And with Jeff only saving one, I kind of like that play from Matt.
If it's a so it has to be Hoojix and Run Loop Run. That's scary though. So he can't play since my sister. So he probably doesn't have My Sister Has It, and he wouldn't have the force to play it, even if he did. So if it's a 7, as the last card in Jeff's reserve, he could battle Obi-Wan. Even if Luke's run over, he chokes Luke, gets the overflow, and takes that trade.
It does look like he's going to battle with Blizzard 4 as we see Jeff deploy Grand Moff Tarkin onto Blizzard 4. I kind of like. Well, I feel like Tarkin would have been better outside if you don't think that Matt has the run Luke run at this point.
He's better inside versus run Luke run. Better outside if not.
And we have a battle against Leia. And it is a 6. So it's going to be 20. Oh, no, he's just hitting Leia. So it's 19 to 3. Oh, no, he's not even causing the battle damage. He's just making her lost.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, that does make it. Well, I think Blizzard 4 is going to block Luke. Yeah. Okay.
And yeah, Vader hops in with Tarkin. I mean, you're getting 2 Battle Destiny there.
It's down 2 to the 6. So he can either, if he gets drained for 2, he can top deck the 2 and have the 6 on top, or he can top deck 1 and Forlom another card and have the 6 on top.
Yeah, I kind of don't hate either of those options at this point. As we do see Jeff circulates, uses 1 for the upkeep on Blizzard 4, and will pass turn. I kind of feel like you're just going to see Obi-Wan move over this turn.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Okay, Matt activates everything, so yeah, we're not going to see a battle this turn.
It's pay to drain. I don't know. He might block the Jeff's ground drain with Ray and the Hoojiks or something.
As we see Emperor and Grand Moff Tarkin both go lost from hand. Still in Matt's control phase at this point. Yeah, I agree with you, Sam. This is where a neighboring leads would be really valuable for Matt. Matt into his deploy phase, draws a card with Ray. And again, Matt thinking about what he wants to do. He does have 7 force left in his force pile.
There's still potentially Kylo P59.
And Grand Admiral Thrawn V.
And I don't think Jeff's lost command either.
No, I know he hasn't lost the command. He hasn't, and he's used the short range fighter at one point, as we see Corran Horn go down in front of Mara, Lord Maul, and Dr. Avazan.
Okay.
Matt does move into his battle phase. Obi-Wan joining Luke at the Dark Forest. Rey moves over as well.
No, Ray's really vulnerable to getting choked here.
Yeah, I feel like you're right. And I think the best situation for Jeff is to maybe put a character down to the security tower, like Sam was talking about, and then go to the 0-1. Get some more damage in. Being that Matt is kind of limited when it comes to cards or characters at this point. As we see, there's a strain of 2 at Endor.
Yeah. Eventually, if Jeff wants to, he can move to block everything and rely on the Emperor shuttle drain to close it out.
There goes the I don't need their scum either, and a Lando Calrissian Scoundrel, both off the top of the reserve deck. And I do agree with you. And I think at this point, yeah, Jeff is out damaging Matt. Well, the damage is equal, but there's going to be to a point where Matt is not going to be able to pay to drain, and Jeff is, or he'll be able
I
to drain for free. And I think that's where going to Coruscant or going to Cloud City might be just the best thing to do.
yeah, this is a Jeff's got himself in a really good spot.
Yeah, it does feel like at this point Jeff has a lot of options, and Matt is trying to play catch up a little bit. And again, just to reiterate, this is the top four match between our 1 seed Matt Harrison-Trainor against our 4 seed Jeff Lavigne. The winner will move on to face the 7 seed Chris Goglin in the GEMPC finals. Chris going for his second win in the GEMPC. Matt, who it would be going for his third if he was to advance, and Jeff would be going down for his first. Okay, so we do have a battle with the Blizzard 4. Grand Admiral Thrawn V coming down. Vader is going to attempt to choke Rey. Draws a 6, so Rey's going to go lost.
I wonder what his destinies were, because he thought about that for a little bit. If they were all, I mean, if they were all 6+, it seems like he might have just instantly gone for it.
Mm-hmm. Matt will activate one with a Cunning Warrior. Grand Moff Tarkin's going to add a Destiny.
There might be a leadership.
I don't think we've seen Matt lose the leadership. And Matt's going to use 3PO after he activates one. Yeah, I think he's trying to get to...
It's probably Hujix Run Loop Run. Oh,
no, there's the leadership. So
I think
after
he just 3PO'd into it.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. I think he 3PO'd into that leadership. That's knowing where your cards are. Well played by Matt. Jeff draws a 6 for Battle Destiny, bringing his total up to 15. And Matt will draw a 5, bringing his total up to 20. So Jeff will have to lose Grand Admiral Thrawn, and Matt will have to lose Obi-Wan, I would assume. Jeff doesn't say that he's losing Thrawn.
Oh, and good thing he did. So those passengers are tiny.
No, he loses Vader. Whoops. Matt saying in chat, I'll forfeit Obi and revert, maybe forfeit someone else. Okay, so we do have a revert. Again, this is a perfectly fine revert, in my opinion. Here, it does go back to the at least. Well, it goes back to after the 3PO was played, so we're gonna have to see the Rebel leadership be played. Yep, Jeff saying that. Yeah, Jeff, you went back a little too far there.
This might. I think they have enough time left on their clocks to finish this out, but this might be a little problematic for that.
Yeah, battles tend to run the clock a lot faster than anything else in the game. Okay, Matt is not able to play the leadership, so we'll have to do this all over again.
And then, so Jeff isn't. He's using all of his draws in his reserve deck here for this battle, and not leaving any for fighting Quarren. He does not need a Battle Destiny. to cause overflow on Corn and make Matt play the Hujix.
Okay, so we are going to get a restart to the battle completely. So the first action was Jeff choking Ray, Matt activating a Destiny, using 3PO to get the leadership, playing the leadership to limit, and then we go to Battle Destiny. Okay, so there goes Ray off the table. Add with Moff Tarkin, 3PO a card.
Oh, and with the leadership, Jeff will actually have a draw for his weapon. So if he wants to Dr. E. Corrin instead of taking the Hujix,
I
do that again, he can. And he probably will do that.
um I mean, it protects your Mara and it keeps the card out of your lost pile, so I don't see why not.
Yeah, and it
And
keeps Matt from moving in front of him because I don't think he has first aid combo, or even if he does, he wouldn't have it in his hand.
okay, so there it looks like we got it right. Everybody, please forfeit the right characters here.
Got to get out the magnifying glass.
Okay, so Thrawn does go
Got it.
lost, and will Matt forfeit the right character as well? Yep, he will forfeit Obi-Wan there.
Jeff would still be in perfectly fine shape, even if he was forced to lose the
Yeah.
Vader.
Yeah, I don't see losing like either. The Vader would be fine. I don't see Matt initiating here unless he has something like draw their fire just to make Jeff lose some cards. But we do have Jeff battling at the forest clearing. And draws a 7 for
Okay,
Battle
he's
Destiny.
gonna, yeah, so he's not going to Dr. him.
Yeah, I actually don't like this because it is going to make.
He might he might go for a big spread.
Well, I don't think you need to do this because if you make Corn Horn go lost, it keeps you from putting a card into your lost pile if you're Jeff. And I know that lost piles might not come into play, but this is match play.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. I I think he might.
And
Yeah,
the
I
low.
think he might just go because Mara with Luke on table, Mara moves for free, so he could walk. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then one of Tarkin or Vader. Probably. Oh no. Okay.
No, I wouldn't move Tarkin or Vader there just because they add like Tarkin adds a Destiny with Vader, and if Matt decides he wants to battle, you want the second Destiny to get rid of Luke.
Well, he can. That Luke's only immune less than 6, I think. So if he's tracking the 6, he's tracking the 6, then Luke can't fight into it. Uh, it might be possible where Matt doesn't pay to drain, to make so he can't down to the 6, but I don't know.
As we see a drain
It's
from.
kind of just deciding how you want to win,
Yeah.
when every decision is progressing you towards that.
There's drain 2 at the landing platform. Jeff will lose 2 cards from his hand. Both of them, again, he loses a Force Lightning and his Gick.
And he'll definitely block Maul.
Yeah, I think you almost have to block Maul So looks like he moves Luke over.
Yeah, because you got to block one of the drains of two, and this is the one where now because Jeff lost the Gick, now Mara can't fight into Luke.
Yeah, and the other thing is Sam points out that is only a train of one at the Dark Forest because there's no Imperials present.
Oh, that
Good call, Sam.
forgot about that. Yeah, that's right.
So we do see Padme and Han move over in front of Maul, blocking that train. Move Luke in front of Mara, blocking that train. So it is going to be 3 force loss for Matt this turn.
So now Matt needs no Kylo, no P-59. If Jeff has either of them, he would battle into Han and Padme.
Yeah. Solo blank.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really strong
Damn.
text.
Sam, you are on point tonight. Thank you. But yeah,
If he has a okay, so it's yeah, so even if he had um Kyler P-59, he might just go to the Cloud City site too.
there's the drain one at the Dark Forest, and there goes the Tiderian from Matt's hand. Scanner Tex and Fly Casual both go lost as well. Matt down to 5 cards in Life Force with 2 in hand. Jeff sitting at 11 in Life Force with 1 in hand. And I think if you're Jeff, I do think you move.
Maul in front of Ben and Mara in front of Padme and Han.
Well, I was going to say you move Tarkin and or Vader to the Chief Trooper's hut.
Yeah.
I don't see anybody that Matt would have that can go down and remove either of those characters easily. Yep, there goes Vader to Chief Trooper's hut. And like you called it, Mara to the Force clearing. Now, the one good thing if you're Matt is Jeff doesn't have a way of really retrieving with this deck, being that the first strike is lost. So you might not necessarily want to draw up anytime soon. You just want to keep doing as much damage as you can, even if it is a drain of 1 at the funeral pyre.
Yeah. And he wouldn't care about that right now because he can just lose the card from his hand.
Now, on the flip side, though, Matt can also battle with the Ben Solo to retrieve a force because he is a Skywalker. There's the Imperial Command from Jeff's hand.
If Jeff was able to, hmm, yeah. So with Jeff leaving 4 cards in reserve, if Ben battles Maul, Jeff might not even swing. He might just draw the. Well, I don't know. I mean, at this point, any of his destinies probably prevent him from taking overflow.
I was going to say because he's already up by 1 in power. Maul adds 1 to the destiny, so I do think if you're Jeff, you want to draw the your battle destiny. And we see Matt does activate 3. This is telling me that he is going to battle somewhere on this turn.
it's the other card that makes it really hard for Ben to battle into Maul is the Dark Time combo. That could
That's
very
true. Yeah.
easily make it so Ben takes overflow. Because he played the quite a mercenary V, so
Mm-hmm.
he's only drawn 5 for Battle Destiny, and Ben Solo has the text where he gets +1 for each out of play interrupt. I don't think there are any.
The only
It's
out of
just
play
Walkling.
card is Walkling. Yeah, I'm not necessarily sure you want to battle with Ben here. There's just too many variables, and you don't have the Hoochiks anymore. Like, if you had the Hoochiks, I would definitely battle with Ben.
Well, Jeff left enough draws. Yeah, I think if he battles into Maul first and he has the Dark Time combo, he probably swings and just tries for the overflow there.
Okay, so it looks like Matt activates 2 more Force. Yeah, unfortunately, Padme is not a Skywalker, or else you could be retrieving with her. Okay, Matt is going to drain at the funeral pyre for 1.
Okay. The other advantage of battling is just to get more cards in Lost Pile.
True, but I mean, Jeff is already up by 12 in Lost Pile. Well, 11 at this point. There, as we see a Kylo Ren with lightsaber go lost. And we have a battle. Ben Solo against Lord Maul with lightsaber. Matt's going to retrieve 1. As he retrieves the fly casual. Yep, and Carl in the chat said it earlier. So, yep, Maul is power +1 because of the Endor system. Swings with Lord Maul. Draws a 7. Yeah, that's going to hit Ben Solo.
Command. And then I think this next destiny is going to be a random destiny.
I think it's going to be a 4.
Unless this would have been,
no.
if this is a tract, it would have been from several turns ago.
As we see him play a masterful move.
Okay, so no Dark Time combo.
No.
Oh.
That's unfortunate.
It does get him a card back, but.
Well, yeah, that gets him a card and means that if you draw the battle destiny here, if yeah, so it is
Han and Padme can battle Mara and just outpower them by 2.
As a 5, so it becomes a 6. So
he's peeling 3.
Yeah, he's peeling 3 to that battle.
He does. He has the Hoochiks in hand though, I think.
I thought he used it already.
No, it got forced out from Corrin.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what the card in his hand at this point is. Now, I mean, Maul is going lost, which is good. But you are peeling 3 here. Matt down to 4.5 minutes at this point. Jeff sitting at 16.5. As we see a Rebel Leadership, quite a mercenary, and a Fly Casual both go lost.
Oh, it is only. Okay, he doesn't battle. He's. Huh.
Moves Luke in front of Mara. I mean, Jeff is just going to drain out this turn. Yeah. So Jeff is going to take game 1 by 10. With 26 in Lost Pile to Matt's 45.
So if Jeff was tracking his masterful move, I think he can. So he has Phantom Menace in hand.
put it back, get the masterful
Yeah,
move
and then
activate.
unless he has
Yeah,
another Phantom Menace in reserve right now, this gets him another. Oh, he doesn't
oh,
command. That's even
doesn't
better.
matter. Yeah. So Jeff is going to win by 11. I stand corrected.
All right. Oh man. Yeah, Jeff
Okay.
put Matt in a very tricky position. Those Force Lightnings are brutal.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
Okay, so it looks like our players are going to take about a 5 minute break or so. So I think we'll take a break. Everybody can step aside, go do what you need to do, grab a drink or something, and then we'll come back with game two. How does that sound?
yeah, we had mains versus mains, and now we're gonna have two control decks. The full spectrum of Star Wars.
Okay, so we'll be back in a few. And welcome back, Star Wars fans. We are set for Game 2 of Matt Harrison-Trainor versus Jeff Lavigne. Again, Jeff took Game 1 by 11 force. 26 cards in his loss pile to Matt's 45. Again, the winner of this match will go on to face Chris Goglin in the GEMPC finals. Again, in this match, we have Matt on dark side. He'll be playing Imperial Entanglements versus Jeff playing QMC. Okay, again, joining me tonight is the one and only Mr. Gimp Tom himself, Tom Struther. Again, thank you for thank you for joining us. It is a pleasure. So the game is up. Both players are set. Let's go ahead and get into it. So again, Imperial Entanglements versus QMC. There's the Devastator orbiting Tatooine. Bespin.
Like the first game, I think we have another matchup where Matt he's got his work cut out for him.
I feel like I agree with you on that. The one good thing is, if you're Matt, I feel like you almost want to get over to Bespin with the Devastator. You want to load up with
Absolutely.
a character or two. You want to get that over there so that way you can stop Jeff from getting to it early and start putting a foothold in. And then if you're able to just retain presence at Bespin, like being able to stop Cloud City Celebration is really good. Now, the one bad thing is for Matt, being that he's playing Imperial Entanglements, we know that he's got like ATSTs and speeder bikes in his deck. Unfortunately, they don't go inside.
No, they do not. Matt's deck, what it's mainly built for is it wants to spread out and it wants to attack and it wants to make you feel bad for attacking into it. And the deck there is no other deck in the game that is less concerned with attacking into an opponent on their system than QMC.
Yeah.
The one big thing I noticed that is working in Matt's favor is with some of these Imperial Entanglements with decks with the ATSTs and the speeders, like Ryan Jelson, he's the guy that really brought this deck back.
Mm-hmm.
And in his original deck list, it would just be the Devastator as the only ship. In Matt's list, he's actually playing the Emperor Shuttle and a couple copies of the Emperor, and he's also playing the Thrawn that can add a Battle Destiny on a Star Destroyer. And Jeff, it's not a super common card, at least from what I remember. Usually, QMC will sometimes play Nia Num, who can cap immunity to attrition. But it's not in Jeff's deck. So big thing going in Matt's favor is if he can get through those stacks of cards on sand, he has a lot more potential to stack up Battle Destinies and win the Bespin system.
And with him pulling the Fanfare Shield, we know that he is playing the Alert My Star Destroyer card, which once he moves an Admiral from Tatooine, one of the sites, to the Star Destroyer, it's going to make it fully immune. That's kind of hard to deal with, especially if you're playing something like a Grand Admiral Thrawn non-V, where you're getting 2 Battle Destiny, you have a fully immune Star Destroyer, and like you said, all he's got to do is get through the 2 cards on sand instead of like having Yoda, who just caps your destiny at just caps everybody's destiny at 1 there.
Yeah, so, and you start adding up the power destinies to prevent that as a way of working your way through the ships and passengers and pilots of the system too.
So we see Oswald go down to Mos Eisley. We have Corporal Everett going down on a speeder bike to the Jawa camp. There's the Oswald going to the Devastator. Alert My Star Destroyer.
He's probably going over to Bespin.
Yeah. I know that's how you would play this deck against this deck back in the day. Whereas if it's QMC versus Imperial Entanglements, or Imperial Entanglements versus like Old Allies, you go to their system first and you make it so that it's a pain to come and deal with your Star Destroyer. Now, the one good thing for Jeff is he's got cards like, and I'm blanking on the name of it.
Alternatives fighting.
Yes, that one. Thank you. Thank you. So we do see Hark Seth. And the other thing is you can easily just put Hark Seth to Bestman and then just move him down and then move Hark into the 0-1 where it's not a threat. So you can, if Jeff is able to flip, you easily just get Hark out and then you flip and then you just go hunker in inside. Or you move to Tatooine. That's another option. That way you can start doing damage to Matt. And like you said, QMC is a very, very good deck, and Jeff's really good with QMC.
Yeah, what I'm really curious about is what card Matt's gonna grab, because he's playing against 3 Rebel Barriers and he has no Rebel Barrier Canceller. Other big threat is getting into a situation where he can be winning the Bespin system, but then Jeff can set it up where he's canceling the battle with alternatives to fighting, retrieving it back with celebration, and just denying battles perpetually with that.
And there we go. Jeff going down with the Overseer to Tatooine. Now, the only downside here is if we like you said, we know that Matt only has the Emperor's Shuttle. Playing just the Emperor's Shuttle and not having to anything for a barrier means the Overseer should just be good.
Yeah. And there's really good odds that he has one.
As we see, Matt does drain for 2 at Bestman. There goes an Alternatives to Fighting and an Altar from both from Jeff's hand. Interesting to see the alternatives go.
Yeah, that's really surprising.
As we see, I don't need their Scum and Lee Subserlin both go lost as well.
He might. Yeah, that's really interesting. Maybe he's conceding celebration, and he just wants. He knows that once Emperor's Shuttle comes out, if he can barrier it, either he'll just deploy several ships and kill it, or Devastator will move over, and then he can just run away the rest of the game with Overseer.
Yeah, and I think that's the idea if you're Jeff, because like we said, all he's got to do is just stick around on Cloud City. Now, he does have to occupy Bespin to flip, so
yeah,
that's not necessarily the best thing to have himself flip.
He can make it work without flipping.
It's hard.
It's just harder. I mean, main thing he needs is Ancient Watering Hole. Be able to spread out and to find some of the guys that he needs to clean up any Imperials that get deployed onto the Cloud City sites.
Exactly. And looking at his list, he doesn't have Menace Fades, so Matt's going to get all of his drain bonuses on Tatooine once he gets that set up. And I mean, he is running 2 copies of the Ancient Watering Hole, but I mean, now Matt is flipped and he's threatening a lot of damage.
Yeah, losing alternative fighting that's so interesting. Because if he holds on to that that'll let him flip.
Yeah.
Either just moving Overseer back or.
And I think that's what he's going to do is just play the chase game, but at the same time, if Matt is chasing Jeff, Matt's going to get the drains in where Jeff is not. So we do see Matt play Battle Order. And now that he's flipped, he can essentially start losing troopers and stuff, and then start retrieving them with his objective. So he's I like what Matt has going here.
Yeah, I mean if you're playing a damage race deck, the only way to beat QMC is with speed.
And again, this is kind of like the opposite of game one, where Jeff made it so Matt had to make the decision, the harder decision. Now Matt is having Jeff make a lot of hard decisions because, again, Jeff is in a position where he can't flip right now unless he's got another starship. But like you said, I mean, the flip isn't necessarily the biggest thing for Jeff. It's getting the ancient watering hole, getting aliens down to Cloud City so he can start doing a lot of more damage.
Yeah, because once Ancient Watering Hole and Celebration, Matt does have one copy of Masterful Move Combo, but there's two celebrations and it can be grabbed. Um, so if Ancient Watering Hole and Celebration get going, then the damage race just tilts heavily in QMC's favor.
Not only is there celebration, but there's also Figure and Dan in the modal modes who will retrieve one as well once Jeff starts getting at least once he gets those 5 different aliens of different species on the table. And as we see, there's Jar Jar Binks going down to the incinerator.
And this is a matchup where if Matt tries to invade with the Imperial, like the scrub characters, if Jeff starts fighting into those with the Din Djarin, he would actually. There's a lot of spots where you just send him used to get the extra retrieval.
Yeah. And there's the flip from Jeff. So he did have the wild card in his hand. Ray coming down as well. That's going to allow him to take a card out of his used pile. And then he's going to be able to take a card out of his force pile. And then he's going to be able to draw the bottom card of his force pile if he so chooses. But I do expect to see either the wild card move over to Tatooine or the Overseer move back to Bespin. You're not going to leave either of them there by themselves.
Yeah, if he kept alternatives, losing alternatives makes it seem like he's going to run to Tatooine.
Mm-hmm. Maz Kanata going down to Cloud City. Now she's going to allow him to start getting some more aliens into his hand. Unfortunately, though, she doesn't count as a species herself. Because we don't know which species she is. She could be a human for all we know. And we see him take Ket Wall, and there you called it. Wild card moving over to Tatooine.
He probably has a barrier and a path at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Matt is getting deploy -1 to Cloud City sites from the text.
Yeah, being that Jar Jar is still at the incinerator and not at the 0-1, this tells me he's got some sort of evasion. And if you're Matt, you gotta get prepared for all of it. And like you said, he's got 3 copies of Barrier. He's probably got multiple copies of Path of Least Resistance at this point. But before we go to Matt's deploy phase, he's going to drain for quite a few. 2 at Bespin. There goes an I Don't Like Sand and Bo-Katan's Gauntlet Starfighter. Rio Durant goes to the drain at Mos Eisley. Drains for 1 at the Desert Heart. There goes a Locals Defense and put that down. And then a drain of 2 at the Jawa camp. As we see 1 Ancient Watering Hole and another Maz Kanata lost. Losing 1 Ancient Watering Hole, not necessarily the best thing, but there's a reason why you play 2.
He's got another, though.
Yeah, he does have 2.
It opens up losing the second one, which would be crippling.
Now, looking at the board state right now, Jeff is going to be draining for 2, 3, 4, 5 on his next turn, unless Matt can do something about that. However, Matt is going to look at the top 3 cards of his reserve deck with the objective. Again, if you haven't played against Imperial Entanglements in a while, it's a fairly good objective. And it's actually one of the ones that was originally created in the Legacy era that made its way over to the current era.
It's such a good call by Matt to keep the Devastator at the Bespin system.
Oh, yeah.
Rather than chase to Tatooine.
Now, one card...
In this matchup, because the incentive to chase is to stop the drain of two, but in this matchup, taking damage to cause damage early on in the game is much better for Imperial entanglements.
Mm-hmm.
Because like with losing the ancient watering hole, if you can get if you can get a Cloud City celebration in Lost Pile and get it buried to where Jeff can't get it back, then the second one can get canceled by Masterful Move Occupation.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one key component of the damage race taken away. Not to mention the deploy -1 text, which we'll probably be seeing coming up to be huge on this next turn.
Yeah, normally if you're facing down a QMC and you're the dark side player, normally you'll see your opponent, like, you have to pay +1, so the deploy -1 just comes in really big, really quick. One thing to take into consideration is looking at Matt's list. I'm not seeing No Escape V. If Jeff was playing Landing Claw,
Oh,
that would be
so
detrimental.
hard.
Yes, yeah. I remember a couple years ago there was a Worlds where literally it was this matchup: QMC versus IE. The light side player had Landing Claw, the dark side player did not, and the light side player won Worlds.
Yeah, landing claw's a ridiculous card.
And I did learn something interesting today about Landing Claw for those who are liking to play the Crash Site Memorial. If you no escape the Landing Claw and then put the Landing Claw onto the Crash Site Memorial, it actually will stick around. It will not go out of play.
That's Batmouse probably found that, huh?
Yep. How did you guess? That was 100% a Batmouse move. He asked Greg Zinn about it, and yeah, and here we go. We have a JS 1975 going down in front of Ray. Again, for only one force. Like you said, that -1's going to come into play. The trooper is going to attempt to take a Moff Gideon into hand. And Matt did check out his reserve deck, so he knows that Moff Gideon is in there.
Yeah,
I think this is the time to do it.
See a barrier on any particular character on the ground. Maybe Barrack.
Yeah, Barrack is probably the worst of all of the little speeder bike trooper guys. Sorry, I'm checking out some of the settings because I'm getting a warning here in Streamlabs.
And then Ira will be good here. He adds a Destiny with Russell.
Oh yeah. Oh, Darth Vader, Dark Lord of the Sith going down in front of Maz Kanata. Now, again, Jeff only has one force saved.
Right. So worst case scenario is, say you bury your Vader here, and then it's Emperor Shuttle, Emperor Guy, 2 high destinies.
Okay, there's the path of least resistance. Maz is going to attempt to move over to the guest quarters. And I think if you're Matt, the card to grab here is Barrier, not path of least resistance.
Yeah, with him losing the alternatives, the first one he does not need to grab.
Min coming down as well. Min's pretty big.
Yeah.
Because
you go ahead.
I was gonna say Min's big because if he's able to clear that location, it would be a drain of 2 and not a drain of 1.
And even just placing one card out of play and restricting the life force a little bit more. Yeah,
there's the barrier. Yeah. So Jeff did have the barrier. Matt does grab the barrier. Barrack cannot move. Now, if he's got eye roll would be really good right here. Boz currently sitting at immune to attrition less than 4, I believe. Ray's sitting at immune to attrition less than 3. So Matt would need a, I believe it's a 4 right now to. Well, no, he would need an 8 to crack both of them, but a 3 would at least get rid of one of them.
With the play -1, he can't afford Tark, and I don't think he has Tark, because otherwise he would probably have deployed him by now and started the battle.
The only thing that I'm a little worried about that is just the reverse beatdown, because even though Jeff only has 5 cards in hand, he's going to be able to get a card. And that's one thing that this QMC deck actually has the ability to do
He
is,
doesn't battle. Wow.
yeah, I'm a little surprised by that as well.
I guess I don't know. I mean, trading someone you paid 1 force for to probably get rid of Ray
As we see Jeff,
seems like a good trade.
before he activates, uses Maz Kanata. He'll take a Talls into hand. Card that has become kind of popular again recently with this QMC.
Yeah, situational Talls is very good.
And we see Jeff activates. He'll take a card off the bottom of his force pile and take a card with the keeping the Empire out forever out of his force pile. So he goes from what 5 cards in hand now to 8. Again, just another area where QMC is really strong. Now, Jeff is going to be causing 3 points of damage with the drain at Tatooine for 2, and then Jar Jar draining for 1 at the incinerator.
Jeff might battle here, depending on what characters he can put together. Cara Dune would be ideal. Din Djarin would be very good.
Lando with gun would be ideal.
Oh yeah, because he
Um,
adds too.
yeah, he would add a Destiny, and then you get the gun as well. There, so we see Corporal Obrick going as well as a sneak attack and Tempest Scout 2 from hand. Obrick, no problems there if you're Matt, because you can just retrieve him on a later turn. There's the North Corridor for Jeff, and I do like what he's got going now. I mean, you can just start paying to cancel drains.
Interesting.
I mean, you can still cancel where Min is, you just can't reduce. So we see Yaxit going down in front of Vader, Ketwall going to the North Corridor, currently sitting at 4 aliens of different species on the table.
With barrier being grabbed, Jeff can play Rescue in the Clouds to deny Vader
Mm-hmm.
from choking his guys for as long as he can keep getting Rescue in the Clouds into hand.
Tal's joining Jar Jar.
So I get a Ray and okay, so Ray and Maz are probably going in front of Vader. Or at
Yeah,
least one
and
of them is.
I think you almost want to back up the Ketwall just in case, but with passive least resistance, I think that's fine. But now, if you're Jeff, you can just pay 1 force to cancel the drain at the guest quarters.
He's still taking a ton of damage though.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's taken
He's
6.
already at the point where he has to activate less, which hurts.
It's only 1 less, or I'm sorry, 2 less, if he wants to save a force. So Matt will activate everything. Jeff will take a card with keeping the Empire out forever. And I do expect to see Matt drain here. I'm going to see Jeff go down to possibly 15 in his life force. Unless he decides to lose a card from hand. I'm sorry, we'll probably see him go down to 14 in his life force. So there's the drain of 2 at the guest quarters, but Jeff is going to cancel with the North Quarters game text. Drains for 2 at Bespin. As we see a barrier go lost, as well as a computer interface. Drains for 1 at Moss Eisley. And now Jeff is thinking about what he wants to lose here. Ayla Secura going from hand. Drains for 1 at the Desert Heart. See Jeff lose a Path of Least Resistance. Drains for 2 at the Jawa camp. Local defense and Figure and Dan going lost. That's a big one.
Yeah. Especially if he's going to forego celebration, which it seems like that might be how he's trying to handle this.
Jeff was 16 in his life force, 6 in hand. Matt sitting at 23 in life force with 8 in hand.
So there's probably another path in Jeff's hand, and that would, if it can get forced out, that's going to be the last one.
Now, he does save 3, so that also means that he could have another barrier.
And John, he doesn't have the run loop run canceller in this one, and they do know each other's deck lists, so he would know to play around that if he did.
Into Matt's deploy.
I'm still hung up on losing the alternatives from hand early on.
Matt's going to check out the Destiny in his deck. He does have only 5 cards left in his reserve deck. Yeah, I think if you're Matt, you at least want to get rid of one of the aliens. That way, if Jeff still has 1 copy of the Ancient Watering Hole, he's not necessarily getting the bonuses just right away. But I do feel like it is going to be a little hard. The other thing is, Matt could just move some of his characters into the Upper Plaza corridor and threaten 2 drains of 2.
Yeah, what's rough, because with how restricted Jeff is on life force, and the other big problem with losing Figure and Deanne is he loses the Recirculate, which is basically QMC's only strong late game option for setting up a battle.
As we see Moff Tarkin go down, joining Darth Vader at the West Gallery. Action is on Matt, so no barrier for the Tarkin. As we see Lieutenant Arnett get flashed to take an ATST or speeder bike. Blizzard Scout 1 plus Lieutenant Arnett going down to the docking bay.
Yeah, I seriously underestimated the velocity of this Imperial Entanglements. This is so much stuff.
And Admiral Shirinu going down to Bespin onto the Devastator. Now,
he does have the shield. Yeah.
Yep.
That's huge if he does want to start chasing in space, because then you can train for 2 at Tatooine.
And I think at this point, I think you do want to start chasing up in space. Jeff doesn't have the sand. We don't see the Han Chewie and the Falcon yet. And I think at this point, like...
Yeah, that's a tough call. Because I don't remember seeing a celebration going lost.
No.
If he can get one of those to go lost, then he can definitely start chasing. Because the only reason to stay camped at the system and not chase is to keep Jeff from being able to deploy the celebration when it's unoccupied and then move over.
Now the other thing is, I could easily see like the Emperor plus the shuttle going to Bespin, and then start moving either like Ozzel or maybe moving Ozzel. No, he's just going to move.
No battle, huh?
No battle. I mean, interesting. Now, The interest, and there we go. Gideon's going to move to the upper plaza corridor, and this takes Jeff from doing 4 damage down to 2. Now again, Jeff won game 1 by 11, so Matt has to win by 12 or more to take the match. But again, he's doing fairly well right now. As we see, Matt does retrieve the Corporal Obrick.
He's up 14 and lost. The big thing will be if Jeff can get Celebration going now.
Mm-hmm. Now, the other thing was, with moving Moff Gideon to the Upper Plus corridor, Jeff can't really necessarily just retreat to that location. Jeff's in a weirdly weird spot when it comes to the Bestman at this point. All of the locations are either he can't simply just move Ray, Maz, and Yoxkit to the Upper Plaza corridor, and he can't just run to the guest quarters at this point. Like, where is he going to go with that stack? As we see, Jeff activates everything, takes a card with Ray, and then he'll take a card with the keeping. But he does drain he does take a card with keeping, and then he drains. Matt loses Tatooine occupation.
He does play 2 copies, and he might have the second in hand. Because it seems like he'll want that on table, unless he's planning to just keep chasing in space and try to pressure the system to get Celebration canceled.
And there's the Celebration. No canceler yet from Matt. As we see Lando with Blaster Pistol going down to the guest quarters. There's the ancient watering hole.
There we go. He got them both going.
But again, unless he's got an Unita here, he's not going to be able to recirculate. Luke going down to the wild card. More retrieval for Jeff.
Oh, that is a good Luke for this matchup.
As we do see Jeff move into his move phase. Ray moves in front of Gideon. The Overseer moves over to Bestman.
Okay, so then
Gravity Shadow would be really nice here. But nope, the wild card will move over as well. I don't think we're going to see a Weather Vane. It's not in Jeff's list. But that would be kind of silly. Putting Luke plus the Cloud City Celebration and the Weather Vane.
Yeah, that's so much retrieval. That's getting to the point where you can't even afford to pay for all your retrieval.
He can. He's only retrieving 3 at this point, plus Luke, so he's only getting 4 back. But Yoxkit joins Ray. Maz joins Lando.
Yeah, I wonder why Matt didn't battle with Tarkin. This is okay.
And there's the masterful move. Jeff immediately grabs the masterful move combo. So even if he does have a second Cloud City Celebration, it's going to take him a while to get it out.
And he might. It's very possible he loses it to the drains.
Mm-hmm. Unless he's got it in his hand. Okay, action does move on over into Matt's turn. He activates 13, keeping 4 force in his reserve deck. Now he'll be able to look at the top 3 cards of his reserve deck, take 1 into hand. So we do see him drain for 1 at the docking bay. And Jeff will cancel it. There's a drain of 1 at the West Gallery. Jeff cannot cancel this one because it is once per turn. There goes I Don't Like Sam, the second copy. Drains for 1 at Moss Isley. And we see a Rebel Barrier go lost, so I believe that's all 3 Rebel Barriers. Drains for 1 at the Desert Heart. Jeff will lose Leia, Rebel Princess.
Oh, that hurts.
Drains for 2
There's probably a Tarkin's Bounty, but still.
There goes Alterms the Fighting and Dash Rendar, both from the Life Force. Drains for 2 at Tatooine. It is 2 because Admiral Shiranu is up there. As we see the Hujiks and the Han Chewie the Falcon go lost. So I believe that Jeff is now out of starships. Matt taking a look at the top 3 cards of his reserve deck. Jeff at 9 in Life Force and 2 in hand. Matt sitting at 18 in Life Force and 7 in hand. Now, Jeff does have enough aliens on the table to satisfy the Ancient Watering Hole. Currently sitting at 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 aliens on the table.
It is possible that Matt, with him holding Masterful Move for the celebration, it is possible that he doesn't have Gick, which might open up something for depending on how Matt spreads out his guys, it might open up something for with Path, like pathing Lando over to beat someone down.
And I was just thinking, like, Ketwall is sitting there all by his lonesome, and it just screams it's a trap. And there's the second Tatooine celebration. Now, Jeff is going to be doing 6 points of damage to Matt on his turn if he doesn't do something about the Ancient Watering Hole. But that Cloud City celebration is going to increase the damage that Matt is doing by 3 on his next turn. Now, the other thing is, Matt is going to have to, if he goes to Cloud City, it's going to cost his guys to deploy +1 because he does not control the system or occupy the system. So the light side game text is now into effect.
I think most of his characters that draw on their own are already on table.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's definitely no EPP Mara in Matt's deck.
And
Okay,
there's
so
Sergeant Iroll. Well, he does have an Emperor, but the Emperor can't deploy to Cloud City.
Yeah.
Outside of that, he does have a few more troopers as well as a Kir Kanos. But again, we haven't seen a lot of Matt's deck at this point.
I wonder what he'll do. Maybe path Yoxkit over.
I think it's going to be Lando. Get that 2 Battle Destinies in, plus the gun.
Then he lost to his Hujiks.
True.
And Maz would be really vulnerable then. And
Yeah,
Ancient Watering Hole makes, I think it makes all the aliens forfeit +1.
It does. And the other thing is, like, if you're Matt, if you're Jeff, you really can't lose Yoxkit, Ketwall, Jar Jar, the Tlals, or Harksef. Everybody else is kind of expendable. And Matt will battle using Sneak Attack to add a Destiny. Wow.
I like it.
Now, the Sneak Attack
does
go lost.
He could, if he wants to call no Gick in hand, he could path Lando into the battle.
Yeah, but that's kind of risky, and I think you're
If
right.
if uh, I don't know if he's to the point where that's his only out.
Because you can't move that, you can't path the tolls in. You won't have enough ability to draw Destiny. Now, Jar Jar would be interesting because you could essentially do the Jar Jar bomb and try and remove it, but then you're also losing Jar Jar, which brings you down to 4 aliens of different species.
Yeah.
So
The
this is
the
kind of
advantage of that is because Kevwall's pretty low forfeit, I think.
he's
Oh,
forfeit
he'd be
5.
5.
He's 5. So there's
Oh,
the
he's going.
path.
Yeah, he's going for it.
Yep, Lando coming in. But like you said, this could be a beatdown on Maz. But we do know Lando's probably going to go lost here, just to keep the Ancient Watering Hole in effect. Lando will shoot at Sergeant Iroh.
That's enough.
Yeah, that is enough. Draws a 2, and Iroh will be hit, forfeit 0. And Matt is currently down by 3 in power plus 2 destiny. And then his total, I believe the total battle destiny is going to be +1 because of the Ancient Watering Hole. And he draws a 6 for destiny. Wow, that's big.
Oh man, Lando will cover with the forfeit +1.
Now, Jeff draws a
If
5.
he doesn't have the Gick, that's
He's down by
extremely
5 right now. I'm sorry, he's not down by 5. He's going to be down by... he's down by 2 currently, plus whatever this destiny is, and it's at 4. So he's going to be down by 6. Or, sorry, 7, because of the Ancient Watering Hole.
Oh, nice. He's got to have it, though.
I don't think you make this play without
leaving
the
us in
Gick.
suspense. Yeah.
There's the Gick. Okay.
Oh.
Matt drawing out a little bit of suspense there. But yeah, now I think you're right. You beat up on Maz here. Because you have Sergeant Barrack right here. So even no matter what, yeah, you use Barrack. Now your destiny, your total battle destiny, if you're Matt, is going to be -1. Jeff is going to be +1 here. Maz does have some immunity. I believe because of the Ancient Watering Hole.
Oh, jeez.
Nope, she doesn't have it from the Ancient Watering Hole. She has it from the Ejective. But there's a 5 for Matt, bringing his total up to 13. Jeff draws a 2. That becomes a 3.
And he lost his Hujix from hand.
Yeah, he's going to be down by 8 currently. Barrack occurs.
And this could be another high draw.
And it's a 4.
Pretty good.
So Matt's not losing anything. And Jeff is going to have to lose quite a bit. He's going to have to lose 7 on top of the Maz. And I hate to say it, I think that's going to make that's going to end this game.
Yeah.
Matt currently sitting at 18 in life force. He's going to be able to retrieve 1 in his draw phase, putting him up to 19. Now, Jeff is going to be able to do 6 points of damage this turn, but that's still going to be too much. As Jeff is peeling, there goes Ellers Medak rescuing the clouds. Dinjar, Cardoon, concussion missile, another rescue in the cloud, and Milas. Jeff is down to 3 in his life force.
And there's movement to block drains.
Yeah.
Even Devastator can move over.
I mean, you could easily put you move. Arnett can move to block the Catwall drain. Gideon can block the Jar Jar Tall's drain because
yeah, he can.
You don't get the bonus.
Damage.
Yeah, you could literally do block all the damage. I say leave the drain at the system because it doesn't more. Like, it doesn't matter. You're only losing 2. You have 3 cards in hand. You're out. Jeff is dead next turn. This game is done. Like, Matt can easily move everybody over. And I don't like, well, Gideon, yeah, that's fine. But you definitely, like, I would have liked to see the Talls and the Jar Jar drain blocked. At least move Arnett to block the Ken Ball. As we see the Devastator move over to block the drain at Bespin. But again, Matt's going to retrieve 1, so even if he loses 4 here,
he's playing. He's keeping it safe. I mean, he doesn't need to do anything.
Like, Jeff only has 3 cards left. Even if he takes a card with Ray and keeping your Empire out forever, there's nothing he can play that's going to do it. And Jeff concedes. Yeah. Matt's going to have win. Matt takes the match. What a game to end it.
What a finish.
What a crazy game.
That is the path with Lando there. That is so tempting to go for, because if he doesn't have the Gick, he's going to the finals.
So everybody, just to recap, now that our second top 4 match is done, we have our final pairing in the finals. It is going to be. Oh, let me pull up the bracket really quick again. Unfortunately, I don't have the ability to update it. But it is going to be Matt Harrison-Trainor, our number 1 seed, versus our number 7 seed, Chris Gogolin. 2 members of the same team. Once we get that game scheduled, we'll let everybody know. Tom, it has been a pleasure to do this. The chat wants to see more of you, so we'll definitely have to get you back on at some point. Any last words? Any last thoughts on that game?
Heck of a run from Jeff. Congratulations on making the top 4, and we're gonna see MHT in the finals with another GEMPC. Congratulations to Matt. Yeah, and just what an incredible showcase of what Imperial Entanglements is capable of, because this is a deck that he built with a lot of answers for withstanding aggression from light side mains, and we just saw him bully the heck out of one of the mainstays, one of the best light side control decks that's been around for years and years. So just great games from both players, and congratulations to Matt.
Okay, so that's all we got for tonight. Again, everybody, our finals are set. It's Matt Harrison-Trainor, our 2-time, I believe he's the 2-time defending champion, versus Chris Gogolin, a former champion as well, and also part of the Hall of Fame, but little thing besides that. But again, big thank you to Tom for joining us. It has been a pleasure. That's all I got. So everybody enjoy yourself. Enjoy the rest of your week if we don't have our next match going. And as always, may the force be with you. Good night, everybody.
Good night, guys.